Welcome to the Fund Your Retirement podcast.
And so that's where we come into our own and really help develop a strategy for them to make sure that they've got everything that they need to live a happy retirement.
Yeah. So you mean not just financially, but emotionally, perhaps even spiritually?
Yeah, hugely. So I came across this from a lady in Australia, and she's got like this happy life plan, which has sort of 5 pillars to it.
Yeah.
So, those 5 pillars are health, wealth, purpose, community, and lifelong learning.
Yeah, I like them.
Yeah, and to me, it was just right. That's where we should focus our initial conversations with people, to focus on those 5 pillars and say, actually, how well balanced is your life at the moment? And how do you go into retirement knowing full well that you've got all of those things ticked off?
Welcome to the Fund Your Retirement podcast. My name is Lee Cleesby and I'm the co-founder of Fund Your Retirement. Welcome you back to your weekly insights from our expert guests in finance, business and wealth building strategies, helping you fund your retirement. Today I'm joined by Matt Angell, Director and Financial Planner of Creative Lifestyle Planning. Matthew is a financial planner, a qualified financial coach and a mentor who helps his clients not just fund their retirement, but also find happiness and peace before and after they retire. Hello, Matt. How are you? Thank you for joining us today. Really appreciate you coming on the show.
No, really thank you for having us on the show, to be fair, Lee, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know you've got a really good message and you absolutely love what you do. So perfect guest to come on and share what it is that Creative Lifestyle Planning do, who Matt is, and really share with the audience how the whole world of financial planning works and how you help people. So, but before we get into the nuts and bolts, I do like the guests to share a little bit about their journey, their story, how they got started. So if you'd like to share a little bit about your story and your journey, Matt, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I'll probably throw a few curveballs out here for you because it's not all on LinkedIn. So
yeah, okay. So anyone who's not heard this should probably tune in.
So basically, I, like most people, fell into the industry. I was fairly successful as a footballer as a youngster.
Right. Who did you play for?
I played for Reading Schoolboys, Southampton, Farnborough.
Southampton, wow, yeah, quite a high level then.
Yeah, I was as a scholar, but got released by Southampton, and then it was, what do I do? What do I do in my life?
That $1 million question.
Yeah, sort of focused everything on, your football and all the stuff that you enjoy. So it was like, how do I go out there and find myself some sort of purpose and something that I enjoy? But as a youngster, it's just about money coming through the door and being able to live your life a little bit. So I fell into Prudential, as most people in the Reading area did. They fell into a role in the Prudential.
Right, okay.
Because we had a huge presence. There was about 6 offices in Reading to work from. Spent a couple of years there and then got made redundant, like most people did. And went off to the States and did some football coaching out there.
Right, yeah, nice.
So I spent 9 months out there just traveling around the States into different colleges and different places, coaching the youngsters out there and really getting what the US is like.
Yeah, I bet that was fun.
It was great fun. It was fantastic fun. But yeah, I think it comes down to it that it's something that you love doing, but it's not going to pay the bills and it's not going to give you the, unless you really make it up the ladder and start coaching in higher end. So yeah, come back from that and was like, right, what do I do? And then here's the curveball. I went to college to become a carpenter.
Oh, right. There's always a curveball in there somewhere, isn't there?
So a friend of mine was a carpenter and said, look, you'd love it. So I started doing some work with him, just helping him out. And then got an apprenticeship scheme and did like a year and a half I was on one of the garrisons, army garrisons, fixing doors and door frames when the soldiers have got a bit aggressive with a door every now and then.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So, I started doing that. And then it was like, I love the creative side of that, because, I've done loads of work in my house. But the fact of the matter is, my brain wasn't being stimulated enough.
Right.
That's how I felt. And so I fell back into financial services, worked at a variety of product providers as a broker consultant. So, worked for Scotch Life, MetLife, back to the Pru.
Oh, yeah. So you different, quite a wide variety.
Yeah, I went to AXA Winterthur. Was at Winterthur and then got taken over by AXA. And it was, at that time, the world was changing. So
what time was that? Sorry, what year were we at there approximately?
So we were at probably about 2008, I think I joined AXA Winterthur.
Oh, the world was changing then, wasn't it?
Yeah, so the world was changing. Obviously, we'd had stock market crashes, but also everyone was going over to sort of this wrap platform. I remember I was going out there selling AXA Elevate to the financial advisor. So it was like, actually, how many broker consultants do we need out in the world now? Because we're not selling a product. People are going to embed on wraps and platforms, and you're not really going to need that person anymore.
Yeah, okay.
And it was at that time I said to myself, right, what do I do? Do I carry on in this space, or do I go across to try and become an IFA? And so I made the jump and became a paraplanner for about a year and a half, 2 years. And then at LEBC, which was, I was part of what they call the retirement advisor there.
Yeah, okay.
They gave me an opportunity to become a financial planner. And it was a whirlwind experience, as I'd say.
Was it baptism by fire?
Yeah, it is, because you realize as an individual that it's not just selling a product. It's, I've got to be compliant as well. And what does compliance mean? And you're thrown into that environment where, you can earn really good money, but you've got to do things in a timely fashion. And I'll be completely honest with you, I nearly fell off the cart.
Yeah.
And it was, right, what can I do to earn money and push forward? And then I sort of, it switched over about 12 months after doing that. And it was, right, now I need to do the right things. How do I do those? And I took a lot of that into training new trainees. So we had graduates coming in and people coming in from university, flying through their diploma exams. And it was like, right, there you go. Now you can become a planner. And it was like, I thought, right, I'm not letting people suffer from the experiences that I've suffered. So I'm really going to train them and teach them and develop them as much as we can.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm really proud of some of the people that have come through that sort of academy process and where they are today. So
you actually trained the future planners as well coming through.
Yeah, it was lovely, and it's something that I'm doing at Creative Lifestyle Planning now. We've got Chris that's come on board as an apprentice, so he's doing his exams, and we're helping him with all the sort of soft skill side of things. And it's quite familiar with a lot of people's perceptions of financial advisors, planners, whatever we want to call them. Is that they're salespeople, they're people that wear suits, they're people that, are going to go in there and just push a product home.
Yeah.
And it was one of the conversations I had with him. I said to him, what's your perception of what I do? And it was that perception that led me to think, actually, I don't want this to be a perception of us. And his perception came from his dad's financial advisor. And it was just going, oh, okay, really familiar to understand that that's his positioning of it. And we are where we are today with Creative Lifestyle Planning, which started in June 2020, right in the middle of the lockdown.
Oh, right. You do have to pick your time, don't you? 2008, 2020.
But yeah, it was one of those times where I got made redundant from my previous place, where I was sort of a national advisor looking after various different offices around the country.
Yeah.
And I got made redundant. It was one of those do I or don't I? And it was right, now's time to do it. And it just went 100 miles an hour from there. And we are where we are today.
And I'm presuming, listening to, we just had a brief chat and things are going amazingly well, aren't they? So more than happy with the decision.
Yeah, very happy with the decision. Don't get me wrong, like anyone knows that I've started a business, it's not easy.
Yeah.
That sort of first 18 months of turmoil of generating revenue and making sure that the proposition that you're bringing to market is what you want it to be. And I think that's the nice thing about starting a business is we can actually develop something that really is different to what others are doing out there.
Yeah.
And be able to have the flexibility to change and adapt it as we go.
Yeah, we've had some really great conversations pre the podcast. So like, I know you do things differently. Would you like to share with the audience what it is that really separates creative lifestyle planning?
I think when we set up creative lifestyle planning, it was, how do we be a financial planner and be very good at it? How do we provide a world-class service to our clients? But also, how do we provide them with a bigger proposition that's more focused around their life? You know, the big thing for me is I want every client that comes through the doors and sits down with us to really feel like we've got a real focus on their life and on what they want to do in the future, but also be able to help them, you know, because obviously predominantly a lot of our marketplace and a lot of the people that we deal with are the at retirement stage. And the at retirement market it's a very difficult market for people because, you know, when a client comes to retirement, they are focused on what pension have I got?
Yeah. So you mean do you mean the at retirement market is difficult for the individual who is at retirement, or difficult for the businesses in that?
I think that's in particular the individual. The client that is coming up to retirement that has no clue on what they're going to be doing in retirement.
Yeah. And
so that's where we come into our own and really help develop a strategy for them to make sure that they've got everything that they need to live a happy retirement.
Yeah. So you mean not just financially, but emotionally, perhaps even spiritually?
Hugely. So I came across this from a lady in Australia, and she's got like this happy life plan, which has sort of 5 pillars to it.
Yeah.
So, you know, those 5 pillars are health, wealth, purpose, community, and lifelong learning.
Yeah, I like them.
Yeah, and to me, it was just right. That's where we should focus our initial conversations with people, to focus on those 5 pillars and say, actually, how well balanced is your life at the moment, and how do you go into retirement knowing full well that you've got all of those things ticked off?
Yeah, and that's when you're working with the clients. I'm guessing, did you say that your main area is that kind of at retirement sort of, that's where bulk of your clientele is?
Yeah, so, at the moment it's the at retirement or retiree client bank. And so when you talk about things like purpose, it's, you know, you've worked all your life.
Yeah.
All of your life you've spent working away. You know, your weekends are normally with your family.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden,
what next?
Yeah. What next? What do I do? So we help clients create that purpose for themselves. So we get them in a real mindset of focusing on what they want to be doing in the future.
Yeah.
And finding a place that really makes them happy and feel rewarded for what they're doing.
Yeah.
So that doesn't necessarily mean people retire and stop working. That might mean they go into some consultancy work. That might mean that they work 2 or 3 days in a local charity shop.
Yeah, it could be just going part-time, couldn't it, somewhere?
Yeah, and there's so many avenues out there for people to create that purpose and find that purpose. So what we've got a client portal for all our clients, and they've got areas there, depending on their demographic and where they're based, where they can click into, you know, maybe they're being Surrey, and they click on Surrey Purpose, and within Surrey Purpose there are places and numbers and websites and stuff like that to contact.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, just to generate a purpose for themselves. But
Yeah.
when in the meantime, it's creating a community for them as well.
Yeah, yeah. So you've actually got like an online portal where your clients log in and they can go into the different sections you've described and locate possible sort of communities within their area. Oh, yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so we've got an online portal, and that portal it's got your sort of community, purpose, lifelong learning avenues for them to focus on.
Yeah.
But it's also got a wellbeing section. So as part of that wellbeing section, you've got meditation, you've got exercise, you've got all of these different videos and things that they can do, walks, various trails that they can go on walks in. So it's just creating all of those different points for them to really create a meaning and purposeful retirement.
That's amazing. Yeah,
to go out there and find it themselves.
Could I take you back? So what we've just talked about there, could I take you back to 2008? And was any of this that we've just gone over now, was any of that around in that 2008, which isn't that long ago, is it? I mean, it's not.
No, it's crazy when you look back on it. And
how much has it changed since then?
It's changed massively. I mean, 2008 was the era when I remember I was at AXA at the time, but I was Winterthur at the time, and Winterthur were just one of the first to go out there with a clean contract. So, you know,
what does that mean? What does that mean?
So basically, you've got £100,000 to invest in a pension, and your financial advisor might want to take 2% of that.
Right.
So you've got £98,000 to invest.
Yeah. Okay.
Obviously the AXA side of things was all commission. So financial advisors were going out there speaking to clients and saying, we can give you 100% of your money invested.
Right.
We're taking an 8% commission up front because someone's offering them an allocation rate of 108%.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And that, I think at that point, my mind, well, to be honest, I wasn't a very good salesman. So I wasn't a very good broker consultant. You know,
right.
You could probably ask my bosses that. I wasn't very good.
Yeah.
And it was like, that didn't really sit right with me because transparency is one of our sort of values as a business. So the transparency to actually tell people what our fees are, how they're structured, etc., is massive for me.
Yeah.
You know, what the common question that when I've worked for employers is, you go and sit down with a client, all right, how much is this going to cost? And you know, most financial advisors get that difficult bit of justifying their work and what they cost to do this piece. And why not just have the transparency and put it out on your website?
Yeah, like you have.
Yeah, it was a conscious decision to do that.
Yeah.
To get it out there on the website, so that people could actually know what they're going to be charged, what the costs are going to be going forwards. You know, not many people do it, to be honest, and I think more should. But I suppose that's the industry we're in.
Well, usually what you tend to see is there's a few at the beginning, and then eventually it becomes standard, doesn't it? And probably with the handful that are now beginning to do it, like yourself, the chances are it'll evolve into probably standard in the coming years, I would imagine. Where do you see the industry going over the next few years then?
It's quite an interesting one because when I started the business, I joined Next Gen Planners, which is a fantastic community of like-minded financial planning industry experts that really want to push the industry in a different direction. You know, and unfortunately, I'd probably say that's only about 10 to 15% of the industry at the moment that are either part of that community or are doing, you know, really fantastic things with some of the sort of lifestyle planning stuff that Paul Armisen and guys like that have come up with. And I hope and I pray that the industry is going towards that direction of more planning, lifestyle planning, really focusing on, you know, the client and the individual, rather than having that conversation every year about what your returns have been and this is what it's cost you.
Is this, do you think, as well as a result of because of the challenges that you see in people who are coming up to retirement are having?
I think there's a numerous amount of challenges with people when it comes to retirement. You know, like we said before, there's a number of things about, have they got enough? Have they been saving well enough? Is it in the right places? What's it costing them?
Yeah.
You know, or have they got enough to do this, or have they got enough to do that? And, you know, we're coming out of that phase where a lot of clients had final salary pensions when regulation came in, and it was, you know, pension freedoms, and everyone wanted to buy their Lamborghini with their pensions.
Yeah.
To be honest, I didn't see much of that, but you know, we're coming away from that phase where people have done really well for themselves, and now it's how do we help the next generation identify and save enough for later life.
Yeah.
And I think that's where financial coaching, I know there's been a huge rift, and if you see things on like vouched for, etc., we've now got a section for financial coaches because they are the next generation of people that can actually help the younger generation understand their money beliefs, what they may be, and hopefully set them up in a place where they're going to have a fruitful life like some of the older generation are having now.
Yeah, well, there's definitely been there's an education gap, isn't there, in financial literacy, basic money management, saving, investing, so I'm guessing that this new wave of financial planning and financial coaches is a perfect sort of antidote to that. It can
I think there's lots of skepticism around it because there's so many financial scams and stuff like that. So that's another challenge for people.
Well, anything around money evokes any sense of, you become protective of it, don't you? The individual becomes protective, very guarded, and rightly so. So,
so there's another challenge that people have. It's like, who do you trust? How do you go out there and source the correct individual for you?
Yeah,
and it's finding places that are completely unbiased, and how do you go out there and find the best financial planner for you? And word of mouth and Google, and you've got unbiased, you've got vouched for, you've got places like Boring Money. There's huge amounts of places out there for people to source really good professional individuals to help them in a way that they need to be helped.
Yeah.
But it's a real challenge for people to find the right person.
Yeah. So if someone's listening now, say that they're in that kind of approaching retirement stage that you said that most people are kind of at, who you work with, they're looking around for a financial planner. What types of questions would you say to them to ask, themselves, or when they're researching, looking for the right planner to work with? What type of things should they be thinking about? Should they be questioning, or questions should they be asking the planner when they sit down with them for that one-to-one?
I think the biggest focus that individual should have on that person is, how much do you want to understand about me and my life? Before you start bringing out all of the jargon and what this product does and what that product does. If that particular individual is really focused on you as an individual or as a family, and asking the right questions about, what does your life want to look like in the future?
Yeah.
Where do you want to be in the future? What are you going to do when you get to retirement? If they've got a real focus on that, then you're probably on a sound basis of finding a good individual for you.
Yeah.
If the first thing they want to do is pull out all your pension paperwork and go through all of that with you, then there's a real focus on a product push and a product sell there.
Right.
But go out there and look for someone that's got fantastic reviews, and they don't have to be all 5-star, because I do see a number of people with just 5-star reviews, and sometimes you say to yourself, have you just asked the people that you really care?
Yeah.
And you're going to get those 5-star reviews from.
Yeah.
Our philosophy at our business is we ask everyone. We do annual client surveys to find out what people are actually feeling and think about us. And what's crazy is when there's something maybe negative, it might be that, a report comes out too slowly, or you've gotten to, they're the really key important points to me, and help us develop and become better as a business.
Yeah, no, some good insights there. And you've already mentioned vouched for, unbiased, and Borrowing Money as 3 great resources that people can search out financial planners and financial coach. Could you separate the difference of what a planner and a coach does? Because I've seen you're a planner and a coach, aren't you?
Yeah,
so
that's right.
What's the difference then? What would be?
As someone that does both, it really sets you up to have a really more meaningful, deeper conversation with people about their money beliefs. Because one of the big things as a financial coach that you will find is that you will be able to develop and help people harness their beliefs around money.
Yeah. Okay.
So especially when it comes up to retirement, the the amount of people that you come up across that have spent most of their life being frugal, putting most of their money away, which has been developed from probably, when they're 7 or 8 years old, and mum and dad were saying, you've got to save money, money doesn't grow on trees, all of that sort of stuff. You to encourage that person to then spend is the biggest challenge that I have with clients, to make sure that they're spending and not going, unfortunately, being quite morbid about this, but going to the deathbed with regrets. And for me, it's, how do you get to that point? The difference is as a financial coach, they will help harness and develop and understand what those beliefs are. What things are holding a particular client back. And really, you can really work in harmony together. Working alongside other financial coaches. So clients will go off to see the financial coach to have that deep dive. And then if there's any financial planning off the back of that, that's where the financial planner steps in. So I see a real harmony between financial coaches and financial planners working together going forward in the future.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. And I'm presuming as well, from what you said there, the insights that a coach can gain from working with the client on a deeper level can be quite enlightening for the client, because it allows them to take on this new identity as they're no longer the boss of XYZ company, or the manager in charge of a team, or they're moving into this new kind of with all the labels taken away from them, all this free time. It helps them develop a new identity and enjoy what they've spent 40, 50 years saving as well. So
it really empowers clients. And one area that I've found that financial coaching's worked really, really well is at the divorce stage, where you're actually sitting down with individuals that have gone through a divorce, and all of a sudden they've now got the power to be the person that they want to be. But for the majority of their life, they've been the person sat in the background.
Well, that is really an identity shift, isn't it? That coming up to retirement and the divorce, it's like, poof.
Well, you've got retirement and divorce. And when you sit down, in particular females, when they've been in a relationship with a fairly financially powerful male, and when they come to start seeking what their settlement can be, they have an element of guilt of what they can justify as theirs. So it's really sort of stripping things back and saying, how much of how long in your life have you held yourself back and not developed your own career, your own process?
Interesting questions.
It's a huge shift, and I think more and more people will go down this route. And hopefully it empowers people to have better beliefs and push towards what they want to achieve in their plans.
Perfect. We've covered there a lot around that kind of approaching retirement age and for that type of bracket. We did mention earlier on about the younger generation. You're working on some really good projects to help the younger generation get into the idea of saving, retirement, planning for the future. Would you like to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so when obviously I'm trying to adopt the model of bringing in the younger generation into the industry, because we've got a huge gap of retiring financial planners, and we need to fill that gap so that people can seek financial advice going forwards. So we're doing some work there around bringing apprentices into the scheme, and helping them develop their careers. But
it's a great career for someone to get into as well from a young age, isn't it? So
it's fantastic. And what's really enlightening when you actually allow them to sit in a meeting with you.
I bet they're like this.
They come out and I've got so many ideas. And as the younger generation, they've got fantastic ideas around social media and all that sort of stuff.
All that energy and drive and buzz, isn't it, that you get with the youth?
So much. And you're getting them going, do you want to do a TikTok? And I'm going, oh no. My daughter's going to kill
So we're
me.
going to see you dancing on TikTok soon.
So that's one side of things. And what's come off the back of that is, how do we help and educate the younger generation and what do they like to see, and how do they work in their lives? One model that we're working on at the moment is sort of like a subscription basis.
Right.
So, most financial advisors, if someone approaches you and they've got £20,000 or £10,000 that they've built up over a number of jobs, because the younger generation do like to find their feet and find a place to enjoy themselves and find their workplace. So we're developing at the moment a sort of a Gen Z model,
right,
which will be 2 levels. It will be more of a sort of a hybrid model, where you provide a bit of advice and actually set them up on a platform, etc.
Yeah.
Or you've got the other model, is more of a robo, where they go through and answer a few questions to understand what they're going to be doing going forward. So pretty excited about that, because we've done some market research with about 50 individuals in that space. One of the apprentices has gone out there and grabbed hold of his friends and other friends off the back of that, and said, what would you like to see? And so we're developing that at the moment, hoping probably in the next 6 months that will be out there in the ether, and we'll be able to then just help more and more individuals.
Yeah, brilliant. And that's probably more native to that generation anyway. They're used to their apps and phones and on demand as well. That's what they've grown up with, isn't it? So
and we've got like videos that we're going to be sending out as part of rather than having newsletters and blogs that we do for our wealth management clients. We're going to be having TikTok videos. We're gonna have TikTok videos. We're going to use things like Video Ask to have conversations with them.
And
just use and harness video a lot more.
Yeah, and that's what they've grown up with, YouTube, things like that. So it's all native, isn't it? Brilliant, I love it. So that's really exciting. As we kind of come to the end of this chat, I'll always like to finish off with: is there any myths that you'd like to bust around the financial planning industry? I'm sure there's a few.
There's one that's come to mind actually. I went to a conference last week, and I'm very much in the line of, I don't wear a suit. Because for me, when I'm seeing clients in their homes or they're coming to see me, there's a big perception around, if you wear a suit, you're a bit of a salesman.
Yeah, okay.
And it was quite interesting. I went into this conference last week, and I was only one of 3 people out of about 260 people that was not wearing a suit. And it was blue suits, white shirts, and a navy blue shirt.
Yeah.
And I looked around and I thought, this has got to change.
Sea of suits everywhere, was there?
Sea of suits. Commission's another thing that's generally not in the marketplace anymore.
Yeah, okay.
So look for transparency from your planner or your advisor or your coach that you're going to be seeking advice from.
Yeah.
Because that it's still out there in certain places. One particular big provider still has a commission band that gets hidden in smoke and mirrors.
Right, okay, yeah.
So just look out for that. If you haven't got transparency in the fees that you're being charged, probably step away.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, well, there you go. Some great tips, some great advice there. Not advice, but just sharing knowledge and information.
And there's loads more. So if anyone ever wants to ask me a question or I've got any queries or anything, they can reach out to me on various different social channels.
Yeah, I was just going to say, where can they connect with you? Where can they follow you? And where can they also, book a call with you as well?
Yeah, so I've got various avenues. So we're on LinkedIn. Obviously, you can find me there as Matthew Angell. Under there, we've also got a creative lifestyle planning page. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook.
You're everywhere.
we're everywhere in that sense, because we're using a lot of those avenues as an education tool for people.
Yeah.
And give people an idea of some of the things that we're doing.
Brilliant. And I'll make sure all the links are in the show notes below, so you can either, if you're watching, go down below. If you're listening, they're there for you to book a call or learn more. So Matt, thank you very much. Really appreciate your time today.
No problem at all. I really appreciate it. And it was really good to be on the call with you.
Cheers. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And you don't have to stop there either. We have more videos on the screen for you and lots more insightful content on our channel and at our website fundyourretirement.com. I want to thank you very much for your time, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.